I think my biggest gripe or my biggest complaint is the fucking Sentinel. He never stays away from me. The point of the Sentinel is he takes a beating. He takes all the damage himself. So basically, so in other words, he's drawing aggro. And some reason he doesn't stay the fuck away from me. I'm like, get away from me! Just don't. And some of the enemies actually do have area effect attacks, and he's not getting away from me. And I can't program the AI to act in a behavior sort of fashion. You know, like, when you turn into a Sentinel, please stay away from me, like about, I don't know, 50 foot away from me. No, you can't program it, and the AI are idiotic in this sort of sense. And actually, funny enough, Persona 4 is designed in a similar manner to this game, and it actually does it a hell of a lot better, because in the battling system, okay, you don't change jobs, but you could let the AI control your other party members, and you can actually program them in a way on how you want them to behave. You know, be more aggressive, be more of a healer. You know, be careful with your SP. In other words, that's MP. I think that's spiritual points to mana points instead. You know, be careful like this. Or, the best option in Persona 4, control your party members. I can't. And you know, Persona 4 came out, I think it was about a year or two before Final Fantasy 13. that just shows you how bad Final Fantasy 13 is. Oh, I mean, Jesus Christ. And also, what was the other biggest problem with the battling system? Oh yeah, that bar. I know why the bar is there. It's the only way to get critical points is to fill up this fucking bar. And you know what? This bar's main purpose is to pan out the battle. And that's it. I mean, Jesus Christ. Just panning it out is just to have this long boss battle. Why you got this fucking bar here to pan out the fight even longer? You know, I don't want the battle to be panned out. It's boring. I don't want to spend too long in this battle. I just find it ridiculous. Oh, I hate that. I hate that bar so much. And I don't think there's nothing much I can talk about the battle system, because, as I said, there's nothing really much to talk about in the whole battling system. It's just really boring, and that's it. Boring with no substance. And just changing the jobs is just tedious. And leveling up the jobs is also tedious. And the characters actually have no personality when it comes to sort of battle. Okay, they have different weapons, but they've still got... They've... I don't know, I think it's just because the AI doesn't handle them very well at all. And I'm kind of wondering, why can't you just mix up the jobs together? You know, it would actually save you time in switching the jobs, and it kind of makes more sense to bind the jobs together to make one unique class. You know, you can have like this commando healer, or you could have a sentinel commando maybe, or a sentinel buffer, as I like to say. And the buffers, as I said, the buffers like to give you protection or make you do more damage, that sort of thing. I just really don't understand that. Okay, enough of talking to the gameplay, guys. There's nothing really much to talk about the gameplay because it's that boring. But the story. This is why I don't know why people call this a good story. You know, this game actually is a good example. If you're gonna write a sort of story essay for your class, and you want to know how not to do it, Final Fantasy 13 is a very good example of this. And I know someone already said that it's a good story. No, it isn't. I spent fucking 40 hours in this game, and it lead to nowhere. Nowhere. What's his biggest problem? Why is it bad? Okay. What do you need in a story? Seriously, what do you need? What is the basics of storytelling? And if you don't know, simple. Expedition, if I can say it properly. And you'll find out, what does that mean? It basically tells you about the world and what's going on and who are these people. In other words, it explains to you. Okay, here's the thing. When you start out in the game and you already see me, all of a sudden it just starts out with this monologue of this random person, which I know who it is, but seriously, why her? And it just gives you this monologue about some bullshit, and you're like, wait, what are you talking about? Why are you oh wait, not monologue, narration. Sorry, I keep calling it a monologue, it's a narration. Why are you giving me this narration? We've just started the game. We've just started it. There's no need for this. I can never understand that somewhat method of storytelling, tell it from the start. Because it's never good. And it doesn't really explain anything. Here's the thing. All the characters know what is going on. Oh no, wait. It's just seriously, you start out in an action scene, and you know what? You start out very similarly to Final Fantasy VII, and you know what? This game is so desperately trying to be Final Fantasy VII, but it just fails. Even Final Fantasy VII had Expedition. Even if it did start out on a more action start, as I was saying, the game still gives you Expedition. Mr. T told you about, we're here because we're going to destroy this facility. And you know why he's telling us this? It's because we don't know, the player. We don't know what's going on. We don't know about the fantasy world. We don't know what the philosophy and, the law is like here. Because we live on fucking planet Earth. They live somewhere else. We don't know the traditions. We don't know anything. That's why you have Expedition in fantasy games. Here, it's really bad where Final Fantasy 13, okay, you can't just throw someone into a fantasy world and expect him to know what the fuck is going on, especially a world they've never seen before. That's a no. And all of a sudden, in the story, this game actually feels like you just took a book and you opened halfway into the book, and this is where you start. Don't know what the fuck is going on, who are these characters, and why are they here? Okay, they did sort of explain why they're there. They're here to save this person called Sarah, and they could have actually did a start of the game, and you know what? They keep having flashbacks, and there's enough flashbacks to have a fucking beginning of the game. It kind of feels like the writers actually forgotten about the start of the game. They concentrate, okay, let's think about the middle first. Let's start here, and then let's go here. And when they were about to release the game, they thought, oh shit! We forgot to put a beginning in the game! Well, quick, make the beginning flashbacks. That will do it. No! No! The flashbacks, if the flashbacks were a beginning of the game, they would have helped the game's storytelling and Expedition a lot more. You can see who these characters are and what they do in life. And also you could have learned how the world works. Now, I know I bitched about Final Fantasy X, and don't get me wrong, Final Fantasy X storytelling is terrible. Final Fantasy X in gameplay wise is good, but the storytelling is fucking awful. But the one thing it gets right in the basics of storytelling is that it actually has Expedition. Seriously. Because why? You have Titus, the fish out of water character. He doesn't know what the world is like. He asks questions like, like, what is this city all about? And, what is sin exactly? And what is a summoner? He asks these questions. But in Final Fantasy fucking 13, No one asks these questions, and you know why they need to ask questions? So the player knows what's going on. Because if you don't explain this game, this fantasy world's traditions, or as I said, traditions, this philosophy, or anything like that, you can't know what the weight these characters are bearing. You can't understand the situation of how dire the situation is. You just feel lost, thinking, okay, why is this situation so bad? And then no one explains, because of this and because of that. I mean, Jesus Christ. That's why you need a fish or a water character in fucking fantasy games. And you know what? No, I'm not gonna say that actually. But I mean, it's just fucking awful storytelling here. It says forgets the basics of storytelling. It's unfucking believable. And some of you might be saying, hang on, Persona 4 didn't give you any exposition on the TV world. Yes, but this was set in a modern world. This was set in our world. And the TV world was a mystery. That was the point of it in the TV world. It was a mystery. It didn't take place in a fantasy world. The story is fictional. If I said, yeah, fictional does mean make believe. If I got that right. But even the person who lived in the TV world didn't really know about the TV world that much because there was nothing much going on in the TV world. He only lived there alone, so there's no real mythology or philosophy there. And of course, the characters had to discover what this TV world is really here for. And that's the point, it was to solve a mystery, and you're trying to learn about this. You're trying to learn about the TV world because there's no one else there to ask, apart from Teddy, but of course, Teddy doesn't really know it himself. This is storytelling that is fucking worse. I know I'll keep saying this. I know. And just to let you know, I would rather have a long. I know why they did this. They don't want to keep stopping to tell the story. But you know what? I would rather they did this because the game stops suddenly anyway. Every time you hit a cutscene, it just explain more about Lacies and Falcies, and you're thinking, what are they? And you just leave scratching your head, thinking, what the fuck is going on? It doesn't explain what a Lacie or a Falcie is. Never. I have never heard these characters explain what they are. I've never heard this once. And I've got these, and just to make things worse, they put the things that you need to know, but they still don't give you enough information on these in a fucking logbook. Seriously, fuck you. You can't just do that. You can't just say, okay, this is like the game trying to explain to you, like, oh, a Falcie, it's you know what? Grab the book. Read this. Fuck you, game. Seriously. Just fuck you. That's horrible. That's actually like walking into a movie and the people there, they say, oh, hang on, before the movie starts, you must read this book to know what's going on. This is about 700 pages, but I'm sure you probably get it done. You can't be serious. And don't tell me that the game actually explains what these things are, because you know why? You're 28 hours too late. You can't explain these now. You can't. You just can't now. It's too late. I don't mind if you waited for an hour or two, but you're too late. I'm 40 hours into the game. It's too late. The story keeps adding on more and more shit which you don't understand. And actually, I hate the names of places and people. I mean, seriously,